Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. This is card number 4 of the series on the Painted Lavender Bundle. And I've got a variety of different things going on here. I've used the greeting and the die from the Something Fancy set. I've used the stamps and the dies from the Painted Lavender set to make the stalks of lavender. And I've also used the ribbon technique that I'll show again. What I did is I took a bunch of the pieces of the Designer Series paper that were offcuts and I put them together on a crumb cake card base to make a nice background. So we'll start by doing, actually we'll start here because this is where I'm at. I've got the flowers done in Highland Heather and the stem done in Lost Lagoon, and I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the top of the stem and just lay it over the bottom of the florals so it looks like it's all one piece. So we've got that done. What I need to do is I need to put all of the pieces of Designer Series paper onto this background. I chose to do a background as opposed to just putting it right on the front of the card because I wanted it to be just that little bit firmer. So now this is slightly smaller than the front of the card, or the front of the card front. So I'm just going to put adhesive on the 4 sides, but not all the way to the top because I'm going to need to trim that off. Now these are 1 by 4, and I'm just going to line that up like that. And this is 1/2 by 4. And again, just lining it up right next to that one. So there's no gaps. And then it's a bit like quilting where you choose patterns and colors that have a relationship, but aren't necessarily the same, but have enough difference in them that you can see each individual print. So we're just going to add this last one to the top here. And then we're going to take our paper trimmer, which I managed to put away, and we're just going to trim that little bit of excess off. But I'm going to do it at the top here because the one side is a little bit uneven. So we're going to do this like that, trimmed that off, and I'm just going to use my scissors to just trim off the excess. It doesn't seem to matter how careful you are when you're cutting. You always end up, 4 inches is not necessarily 4 inches. It could be 4 1/8, it could be 3 7/8. It's always just a little bit off. Okay, so that's got that prepped. Now, what I want to do is I want to do the ribbon trick. And I've taken some of my pink ribbon and colored it with my Highland Heather blends, Stampin' blends. This one I put the knot just a little bit high, so I'm going to actually put the knot just a little bit lower. I'm just going to, I'm just punching a hole like that, and then I'm going to feed the ribbon up from behind through the hole like that, and then I'm going to take the ribbon, bring it around, come back down across the back, and feed it up through that hole. So I'm just going to fold that edge over so I can put it through. And then feed it up. What I end up with is the 2 tails next to each other, but I'm going to just pop one on the other side and then just snug that down so it's nice and tight, and then I tie a knot. What this means is your ribbon's not going to move. So there we go. So that, I don't like that knot though. So we're going to untie it. And what do I need to do to tie this better? Am I coming through this way? Sometimes you have to go with the way the ribbon is to get the knot to lay the way you want it to. And that's how I want it to lay, like that. Now I can leave the ends like that, or I can trim them up a little bit. So I'm going to trim them up just a bit. like that. And then I need to build my bouquet. So what I did was I've got 2 that are going to overlap like that, and 1 that comes up in the middle. So I actually have like a proper bouquet. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on that one just to hold it in place, like that. And on this one, I didn't put a dimensional in behind, but in this case, I am going to put a dimensional in behind because I want them to stand, I want that one piece to stand up just a little bit. So I'm going to put the dimensional down. And then I'm going to pop this one over top like that. So it actually, there's some differentiation there. And then I'm going to put adhesive on the back of the whole shebang there, and I'm going to slide this underneath so that it is very close to that knot. And then I'm going to stick it down, and I'm going to trim these ends off just a little bit. And I'm going to trim them all so it looks like they were meant to be trimmed and not just the one. So that sits like that. And as I said, I've used the Something Fancy die, stamp and die to cut this out. And I've got a piece of white linen thread, baker's twine, whatever you would like to call it. And I'm just going to make a loop like this. And then just pull the ends through like that. And then I'm coming up underneath this ribbon. And I'm going to just tie a bow to attach this like this. I don't want to pull it too tight because I don't want it to tug the greeting up too much. And then just tie a bow like that. So there we've got our With Deepest Sympathy. And now I need to attach it to my card front. So I'm going to put adhesive along this edge because the knot where the ribbon is a little bulky, and I want to make sure that that edge of the card stays stuck down. So I trimmed this, remember, so it's not a true 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm just going to make sure I'm even at the top and bottom, and then I can pop this down like that. So there is our With Deepest Sympathy card, using elements from the Painted Lavender bundle and using the greeting from the Something Fancy, and then I just popped the butterflies from the Painted Lavender in. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed the series using the Painted Lavender bundle.